tonight. If you would bow for invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to do the business of the county, dear Lord. Dear Lord, we just pray that you'll be with each and every one of us. Help us make good and wise decisions. Dear Lord, we pray for all our first responders out there, our military abroad. And dear Lord, we just pray for everyone that's here. Lead, guide, and direct us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All righty. Can I get a approval of the agenda? Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
There is one change.
Okay.
Staff is requesting that you table tab 6, which is the general business item dealing with Mineral Springs Historical Marker. The reason being that before that application can be submitted, the state has to approve the actual language that will go on the historical marker, and that hasn't been done yet.
Yes, ma'am.
We're still waiting.
We'll table it to approve with that change. Can I have a motion with the change? All right, I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Passes 5-0. Citizens to be heard, Miss Jessica. Thank you, ma'am. Caden with 4-H.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm good, sir.
So I prepared a little speech. Good evening. My name is Caden. I currently serve as the County Council President for Wakulla 4-H. I want to start by thanking our commissioners and everyone in the county for the ongoing support. Your encouragement truly fuels our growth and passion. This year has been an exciting and active one for 4-H. Our members have put in a lot of hard work, and it's paying off in big ways. I'm here tonight to share some highlights specifically about our podcast work and this year's Community Pride Project. Let's start with the podcast. Previously, we created an environmental podcast, episode 6, with a member of KWCB that went on to win state, regional, and even national levels. A huge accomplishment for our club this year, as we followed up with environmental issues with a new episode, Teen Science Cafe presents Recycle, Reuse, Repurpose, Upcycle. This also took first place at state level. I was proud to be a part of that effort alongside Dr. Pienta and our coach, Miss Amanda, who also happens to be my mom. And we were honored to receive a plaque in recognition of the work. In a recent episode, Emily and I sat down with Dr. Scott Engel, University of Florida Senior Vice President for Agricultural and Natural Resources and leader of UF's Institute of Food and Agricultural Science, to talk about renovations at Camp Cherry Lake and the role of AI in the future of farming. Emily and I also co-host another episode tied to our 2025 Community Pride Project, deeply rooted in the hands of time. This project tells the stories of local residents and explores historic sites across Wakulla County. It's an ongoing effort, and we'd love to have more people's voices and places to be added to our 4-H storybook. Looking ahead, I've heard that the Communications Club is planning to place an even greater focus on podcasting next year, giving more youth the opportunity to step up and showcase their talents and dive in more meaningful conversations. Thank you again for the support from our community, county, and Wave 94. We're proud of what we've accomplished and excited to see what's to come. Keep listening.
All right. Good job. Thank you, Kevin.
Good job,
Caden. All right. Awards and presentations. Cody? Commissioners, how are you?
Good.
Thank you.
All right. I have a Parks and Facilities fiscal year operational overview for you. Our facilities and management team ensures the ongoing functionality and safety of appearance of more than 74 county-owned parks, buildings, boat ramps, trails, and public areas. Some of the core responsibilities for the maintenance team are maintenance and repairs, custodial services, landscaping and groundskeeping, campground operations, boat access maintenance, signage, navigational aids, project management, and construction. And the administrative office deals with customer service, booking, permits, facility rentals, access coordination, financial administration, records documentation, and the Parks Advisory Coordination. All right. County rental facilities, this year we've rented 246 rentals through our facilities. Newport Campground, we reserved 1,903 reservations at the campground. We've recently implemented an online reservation system, Civic Rec. Here you can rent the community center, county parks, pay to see a community center, Newport Campground. You can get your annual boat launch permit here online. If you go to mywakulla.com, Parks and Facilities Department, you should be able to find that reservation site. And Wakulla County boat ramps. One more test. This year we've sold 2,056 daily launch permits. We sold 319 annual boat launch permits. And we recently implemented Park Mobile, a digital way to pay. You can scan a QR code. You can download the app, or you can use your phone number, use a credit card, and we've sold 257 of those. They're now at every boat ramp for an optional way to pay.
Have you had that long enough that you know how that's comparing to before when they were?
I think we implemented it in March. We'll know in a little while. We'll do a comparison of cash versus.
Because I know I've seen people drive up there and they got to pay it. And like, I got no cash on me.
Right. Oh, we think it's going to help.
Yeah.
So. All right, Wakulla County Parks. Some of the county park and beach improvements this year. Azalea Park, we're in the process of resurfacing the walking trail. We installed string lights. They're actually putting the rubberized surface on the walking trail. Today they started. They should be finished by June 1st. About 5 good working days with dry weather. Hickory Park, the basketball court and tennis court got resurfaced, and we added pickleball lines to the tennis court. So now you can play both sports on that court. Hudson Park is in the process of getting new trail lights that match Azalea. Those are wrapping up probably this week. Those will be complete. At the Meadow Recreation Park, facilities helped Brian with some power. We ran power to the reclaimed ponds, some new parking lot, lighting, and a fence around the pond. Mash Sands Beach, it got new beach sand. We installed ADA Moby mats, and it got new removable handrails that surround the seawall around the parking lot. So if a storm comes, we can pull them out, but keep people safe from falling off. And Shell Point Beach, we restored and repainted the pavilions, installed the ADA Moby mats, and a new volleyball net this year.
Can I interrupt a second, Cody?
Sure.
At Master Sands, the latest that we have from FEMA is we don't want to jinx it, and I know probably Michelle's throwing something at me right now, but according to the latest information we've got from them, is we should have an obligation by the end of this month.
On the pier.
On the pier, yes.
Good deal. All right, so some facilities projects this year. Animal Control Services did a full interior and exterior building renovations. BOCC got some new roof repairs. Newport Campground got campsite and road improvements. Smith Creek Fire Station got interior and exterior renovations. UF Extension Office got roof renovation. Wakulla County Sheriff's Office got a new maintenance facility. Wakulla Department of Health got office and conference room renovations. Wakulla County Hazardous Waste Center, we have some improvements going on now. And at the water treatment plant, got a new waste truck, offload pad, and sludge drying beds renovations. Future projects, Crawfordville Community Center outdoor bathroom and gym expansion, the new Wakulla County Library relocation and new building, St. Mark's Fire Station new building, Wakulla County Sheriff's Office evidence room expansion, Highway 98 Landscape Beautification Project, Highway 19 Landscape Beautification Project, Ochlockonee Bay Channel Marker Repairs, and the new Emergency Operations Management Building. Any questions?
Go ahead. Go ahead. How many staff do you have, Cody?
12.
They're hopping. Looks like
Yeah,
they're
12 and
staying busy.
volunteers, and then Roy Crum with the Sheriff's Office. That's my,
Good deal. Thank you. Good job.
Cody, on the Masha Sands part where it goes off from the asphalt there, I know y'all had put some more sand there?
Yes, sir.
And y'all have to build it up quite regular?
We did the sand, but that's why we added the handrails. So we have aluminum handrails now.
Yes, sir.
So that even if the sand gets washed, it's not a hazard. And
Okay.
if a storm comes, we can remove the handrails, and they won't get damaged.
It also makes it easier to re-nourish as well.
Yes, sir.
So that sand some of it's been taken away.
And where they step down, y'all kind of fixed all that too, right?
That whole area is protected
Okay.
from our new handrails. Now you have one entrance to the beach.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Hickory Park turned out wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
You
that.
did too.
You know where that's at? It's behind Sonic there in Crawfordville. It's a beautiful facility.
Josh plays tennis there regularly.
Every day.
Hopefully people enjoy and take care of it.
Yeah, shooting hoops, right?
Exactly.
I don't know about tennis, but pickleball has taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll take care of it. It took some vandalism prior to that, so.
Ned's taking care of it wherever he is. Aren't you? Yes. That was perfect. Thank you, Cody.
Cody.
Well, thank you, Cody.
Thank y'all.
Doing a good job.
Mr. Roddenberry?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening, sir.
I'm going to give you an overview of our spring sports. We just started that in start of February, and this ended up this week, or last week. Out there at the Recreation Department, we had 14 leagues or divisions going on. Making that up was 18 T-ball teams, team pitching machine, player pitch, 8-year-olds. The Cal Ripken Association had 12 teams. The Girls Softball Association had 13 teams. And the spring soccer, we had 35 teams. So that's a total of 88 teams out there, which could have been more. We always need more coaches, so we had to stack them up. So that was over 1,000 kids playing these last 3 months. Not only was the Recreation Department part handling that, we also were the home field for the Wakulla Christian Softball League team. We were also the home court for the Wakulla High School Volleyball Sand Beach Club. We also host Wakulla Volley IQ is the softball association that's out there now. And leaving the park, the Wakulla Horse Association out of the Equestrian Center, they had 4 events this past spring, and they're up to about 40 members now, which is an increase in the past. Speaking of pickleball, since January at the community center, we've had 1,500 attendees. In yoga, we had 400 attendees. So those are the not passive sports, but the other sports activities that we do. What's coming along, starting next week, we're having a meeting, is something that's really I'm excited about, is the pro consulting group coming aboard. And what they're going to do is they're going to analyze our programs, our facilities, where we're at, where we need to be. They're going to look at other entities and base it on population, and they're going to take the emotion out of it, and they're just going to go off the data, and that's what you want, is the data. And they might tell us we need X or we might need Y, and but that's an outside party that's coming in here, and so you can. I'm confident that they know what they're doing. Good deal.
Very good.
Brian, has the parking gotten better with the lights and out on the grass and all?
I've heard lots of compliments about the lighting parking.
Okay. I know that and I went out there a couple of times and I found out the reason the people were parking out on the road in the grass was because they felt like they could get out of there faster.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why there were still some parking left in the grassy area.
And on big days.
And I get it.
Saturdays, I'll get a sheriff's detail out there to help direct traffic.
Yes, sir.
All it takes is a couple of boats and trailers to park the wrong way, and that.
No, I get it. I get it. I've rode out there, sure.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Thank you, buddy.
Brian, how hard is it, speak about getting coaches like in softball, I mean, the struggles that you go through.
I mean, we need volunteers as far as we need coaches. A lot of people, we need coaches. I see two up there right now that have done it for years, and it's a thankless job. But if we did not have the volunteers, our programs would not work. That's just about, and it's a thankless job in today's environment with Facebook and all that. They can, but it is a thankless job, and it means a lot to the kids and people who do it. I mean, 90% of the people appreciate what you do. They really do. They might not say it, but they really do. It's the 10% that might, cause you a little aggravation.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, moving on to consent.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Moving on, public consent items pool, general business. No, concluded, okay. Public hearings, planning and zoning.
I'll kick this one off, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
This is an
ma'am.
application for rezoning R2502. This application is seeking approval for a change of zoning from RR1 to LDR on a 3.6 acre parcel of land located on the north side of Shadeville Road, just west of Powell Lane. In accordance with the code, each commission member needs to disclose any ex parte communications you may have received regarding this application. Commissioner Lawhon.
Spoke with Miss Megan.
In which, favor or against the application, just generally?
General conversation.
Commissioner Russell?
I spoke with a couple of nearby neighbors as well, Miss Megan and another gentleman, just discussing.
I spoke with Miss Megan on the phone and via email, ma'am.
I also spoke with Megan, Carol Carney, and David Scott.
I exchanged emails with Ms. Megan.
If there's anyone here who's going to provide any information regarding this application, please stand up to be sworn. Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
This application requests approval for a change of zoning from RR1 to LDR on a 3.6 acre parcel of land located on the north side of Shadeville Road, west of Powell Lane. The future land use designation for the subject property is urban fringe, which allows residential development at a density not to exceed 2 units per acre with connection to central water and sewer, and 1 unit per acre with connection to central water. The current zoning for the property is RR1, which permits dwellings at a density of 1 unit per acre. The proposed zoning district is LDR, which permits dwellings at a density set forth by the future land use designation of the comprehensive plan. The subject property is currently undeveloped and located in the X flood zone. The proposed zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan, the land development code, and the Crawfordville town plan. Staff is recommending option 1 for approval.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a second. Miss Megan, would you like to come up and speak?
My name is Megan Bunstead. I live at 594 Shadeville Road. I'm the adjoining property owner. I just want to state on the record that I believe that I'm an interested party and I'm not waiving any of my due process rights. Florida Statutes 163.3217 was adopted in 2011, which provided municipalities the ability to create overlays and to develop a sustainable community. Mr. Thomas was a part of the development of it in 2011 when the town gathered and created a plan to beautify Wakulla, which was supposed to create a walkable community. During that time period, changes have been made to that, whether it be originally called the Crawfordville Overlay Plan to now Crawfordville Town Plan. Originally, the zoning districts were called the Crawfordville the Low-Density Residential District. Then it got changed to the Low-Density Zoning District, but still falls under the overlay portion of the code under Article 5 in Section 3. If you're going to interpret the code and language of statutes and laws, it has to be by the plain language of the definition. An overlay by itself needs to be placed over top of something. If it was meant to be a regular zoning district, it would be placed higher in the code, and it wouldn't be under Article 5. I'm not saying that he couldn't potentially request the zoning, but it should be placed on top of it, which would restrict the density. So he would be stuck with RR1 with LDR sitting on top of it, which gives the rules of additional restrictions, whether it be density or offsets. Additionally, at the planning and zoning meeting, staff testified or stated opinions because nobody put them on record or whether or not they're qualified to present testimony, that Mr. Miller was only stuck with two zoning options, low-density residential and high-density residential. I met with him in his office, and he's told me, well, maybe overlay was the wrong word used in the municipal code. Policy 1.72 says when a change of zoning application is requested for a property within the Crawfordville Town Plan Overlay, one of the zoning districts established by the Crawfordville Town Plan Overlay District in the Land Development Code shall be requested where feasible and consistent with the Crawfordville Town Plan. While it says shall be requested, it also says where feasible. So if it's not feasible in the Crawfordville Town Plan, which I'm stating to members of the board that it's not feasible in this current location, because the intent of low-density residential is to promote that it be adjoining or near high density. The definition of promote is to further the progress of something. So it's
You're good, keep going.
so it's meant to like build out the community, to build that sustainable, walkable community. And also in regards to his application, it is deficient. It requires for the Florida Department Code that it be completed in triplicate. I've reviewed the application multiple times going down to the planning and zoning office. There was only one copy of it. It lacks being in triplicate. It also doesn't allow any changes after the technical review committee. He purchased the property on April 14th. He provided an additional application on April 25th. That in and of itself should have kicked it out, and it shouldn't be in front of us today, and he should have been either A, told, hey, fix it and provide a new application, and then re-notice the public. Also, when you drive down the road, the notice of public is not visibly available to the public. I presented photos of that. It doesn't create an open environment if people can't even notice that it's for hearing if it's tucked so close. I ask you today to deny the application, that it doesn't promote the growth that Wakulla County is looking for. It's in a rural residential area. It's not compatible.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Miller? Here for quick, step on up here for just a second. I got a question for you. I watched the planning and zoning meeting. Is it still your desire to put one house per 1 acre, or? I know you're open, I know it's an open thing, but I'm just wondering where your mind's at.
It won't be more than 3 homes.
Yes, sir.
It may be 2.
Okay.
But this zoning gives me that width that makes it allowable to subdivide into more than 1 home.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Clarify, when you say maybe 3 or 2, you're talking about for the whole parcel or per acre?
Whole parcel.
Okay, so you're saying maximum of 3 homes,
That's right.
most likely.
And it's 3.6 acres, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions for Mr. Miller?
Just did it, you want the width of the lots from 150 to 60 or?
That's right.
That's the main.
That's right.
One, the changing.
Yep.
Okay. Any other commissioners?
I have some for staff.
I do too. I'll
Okay.
let you go first.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Okay. So Ms. Megan mentioned that the overlay would go on top of the zoning. But is there anything in the Crawfordville Town Plan that says the overlay prohibits a change of zoning if an applicant is requesting an allowable zone?
So, just to make sure I understand, you're asking if there's anything that stops him from going through this zoning if there's a permissible zoning that he can go to?
Right, so it's RR1
Correct.
today. What zones can he build on under the Crawfordville Town Plan?
Yeah, so under the Crawfordville Town Plan, we have two residential zoning districts that are permissible. That would be our low-density residential, which allows for single-family detached dwellings with the density set forth by its current land use. And then we have high-density residential. Density is still set forth by the land use of the property. However, that one's going to allow for like your multifamily dwellings, duplexes, things of that nature, along with single-family homes.
So by name, he's chosen the one that allows lower density, allows less homes than a high-density HDR designation would.
The densities, again, are going to be based on the land use. However, the low-density residential only allows for single-family detached dwellings, where that high density is going to give you the option, for instance, if we had an urban core land use and someone requested HDR, that would allow for up to 10 units per acre, and then they could do the multifamily dwelling.
That would be more like duplexes.
Correct. In this case, yes. And that HDR would not be permissible within the urban fringe land use that is existing there today, only the low-density residential.
So if he had come with an application asking for high-density residential instead of low-density, you would have recommended disapproval. Probably the planning commission would have recommended disapproval.
Correct. If he would have come in requesting high-density residential, he would have been informed that that zoning is not consistent with the comprehensive plan or the land development code. He still could have made the application, however, staff would have recommended denial because it did not meet the requirements.
So he just told us we're probably looking at a maximum of 3 homes, and I understand that you don't necessarily have to do that. It doesn't have to be pinned down at the rezoning. That's done in the site plan stage, but he was, kind enough to share that information. But what could he do? What's the maximum he could do if LDR passes tonight?
If LDR passes tonight, the maximum density for the property would be 7 units. And that would be at 2 units per acre.
2 units per acre. So roughly a half acre per home site.
Roughly, yes, sir.
Okay. So just across Powell Road, I see 2 small lots right there, which are just 2 lots down from this subject property. What's the acreage of those 2 lots?
Those lots are just over half an acre each.
Which is consistent with what he's proposing to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have.
Ms. Quincy?
I have a question or a comment or an ask for staff. Are TRC meetings public?
They are staff-level meetings that involve the applicants.
Thank you. Let me see here about what else I have. The team plan, Crawfordville overlay, LDR, HDR, Ralph covered most of that. With staff, I had a question here I'm sorry, I thought you said something. I had a question here about the triple copies. One of those considered virtual copies? Is that considered one of the third copy?
So we do keep a digital copy of all applications that we receive, which allows us to essentially have unlimited copies of the application. Within the file, we do keep one hard copy for taking to the counter and showing if requested or reviewed by staff. But the code references the triple, and that is antiquated, and it was put into place when we used to have to distribute hard copies to each department within the county. Now we're able to send those out digitally so everybody can receive them in a timely manner.
So the file that you have, anybody from the public can come in and look at, and anybody can look up online?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other
I
questions?
have one question. Brendan, the high-density residential, is there high-density residential near this property?
You could look at it, high density is kind of a subjective term. However, just down the road, we do have the Wesley Park subdivision, which has a allowable density of 5 units per acre. And if we're looking at the aerial in a straight line, that property is located just over 1,000 feet from this property.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions? All right, Mr. Miller, thank you. All right, I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Passes 5-0. Commissioner agenda items. Commissioner Nichols, this is me. Request board approval to appoint Commissioner Valerie Russell to serve on the Capital Area Community Action Agency, CACAA, Board of Directors. Ms. Valerie,
You need a motion for that?
I need a motion.
Okay, I think I'm going to make a motion for Valerie Russell to serve on the Capital Area Community Action Agency Board of Directors.
have
And
a
after
motion.
I get a second, I want to have a conversation with both of you.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll second it for
All right, Ralph, second.
And I served on that committee too, by the way.
It's so much fun, isn't it? Okay, so first off, this is one of those that it's going to be okay with regard to timing because it's every other month and it's virtual. So that's a fun part. And if I need to change the motion, either Heather or Chair or somebody much smarter than me, if Commissioner Russell is wanting or even hoping and praying that she gets to serve on this Board of Directors tonight, I will entertain the idea of taking over Bidman Scenic Byway. If you want to trade. I have no choice but to get off because it's for 6 years.
I was going to ask you, is that what it was?
That's the problem, or the blessing, whichever way you want to look at it. I'm going to go with a blessing.
I just want to say your term limited.
I'm term limited.
Termed out.
Yes.
And how long, so it's a 6-year commitment?
No, it's not a 6-year commitment. It is a 6-year, that's how long you can serve on there. So the Board of Directors continues to say, hey,
So this commitment?
I wasn't on it for 6 years.
you can get elected a year.
A year?
And then we'll regroup again in January with regard to,
Yes, ma'am.
we can flip-flop them all.
Okay.
Would you like to swap?
I don't, it doesn't matter to me.
I don't care. That's just, I'm just throwing that out there.
You decide.
You decide.
This evening?
No, you can decide whenever you want to decide. You can see how much fun this is going to be, and then you can go from there.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So I have a motion and a second. Anybody else? Any other? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Oh, you didn't?
I got on it the same way, if that makes you feel better, so. I know we're done, and I can bring it up during Commissioner discussion items if I need to, but the beauty of it is that I'm a sucker, so when I sign up for something, I do it. You can appoint a citizen to do it, they just like for it to be a commissioner.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Just think about it.
I will.
You got the whole summer off.
Got it.
All right. All right. County Attorney.
Nothing additional.
County Administrator.
Yes, I want to remind everyone that we have a workshop, a budget workshop on June 2nd, 3 p.m. We've got this year some, as you've been following the legislature, and we've been keeping you up to date what's going on with the legislature. It's going to be an interesting budget year, and according to what happens there, it could get very interesting, but we've also got some Waste Pro. We're going to have to, our solid waste, we're going to have to look at those rates, and we're going to be bringing some information to you. We got more to glean there. Our MSBU, our fire MSBU, we're going to be studying that awfully hard. There'll be some adjustments needed there, as well as ad valorem, and have discussions about the possibilities of in the future, losing ad valorem, and what that could mean, and how is it replaced or not replaced. Just so that you know, ad valorem right now is 54% of our current general fund revenues, and between the Sheriff's Department and EMS, they make up about see, about 58-60% of that, of the expenses. So we wouldn't be able to, we would not, if we eliminated everything else, if ad valorem went away and wasn't replaced, if we eliminated every department throughout the county, we still couldn't fully fund EMS and sheriff's office.
So that 58% is 58% of the overall budget, not 58% of
Right.
that.
So when people talk about that, that's what you're looking at, is not even being able to fully provide public safety. So that's with the remaining revenues that we get, that we have left over, and as well as the state considering lowering their sales tax, we get a substantial amount of revenue from the state sales tax, and that is collected throughout the state, and then we get a percentage of that. So if that goes down, that's cut, that's going to get lower. So that 58 to 60% could go on up into 65 to 70% range. So that's the type of things that we got to look at. We got to look at what it's going to cost for services. It's nice to have a $50 recreation fee at the park, but if we really said, okay, we're going to run it like a business and charge what it truly costs, you'll hear some people kicking and screaming because of what the general fund eats now that comes from ad valorem. So those are some of the conversations that we've got to have. And some of these departments, if we're going to run like this, they have to pay for themselves. We've got to look at privatization of some of them, and each one of these funds, road fund, solid waste fund, MSBU, sewer, all those are going to start paying for themselves. And so there's a lot of ramifications, and I'd rather be ahead of the curve than behind the curve. So we're going to be talking about that. So we're going to get serious fast.
Usually summer's the black cloud of death, and because Brandon hasn't, tonight you are?
I've been sitting beside Summer now way too long, I can tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are we getting, Kinsey, good feedback on our recycling and our waste pro surveys?
Yes, sir, it closed today.
Yeah, they closed today. We'll have those results to you tomorrow.
We received
Okay.
380 responses.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have as much information for you, but it's first workshop, so we'll be pulling it all together. I went over it with Kelly today. We made some changes, some structural changes to the workshop, but we'll probably bring y'all in to at least talk about a few things before it, so you can get used to what we're saying and kind of get a grasp of it. We can have a good workshop. So anyway, that's all I got.
Mr. Chair, may I ask Mr. Edwards something? David, can you tell me about the federal land swap that we have discussed a million times?
The last conversation we had was with the Forest Service, and they were going to take it up the ladder and run it up the ladder, and they told us just to hold on and they would be back to us.
So that was like the last email was like August 2024-ish?
Yes-ish. And since then, the federal government is going through a change.
Transition.
So anyway, I don't know where that stands. I haven't heard anything back from them, so I'm not sure whether those folks are employed now or not. So that's where we stand.
Thank you.
Can I piggyback on that?
Please do.
So I got a call that they said, well, there's a federal guy out here walking around and said we're going to have a meeting, but the meeting is not with you. This was just last week. They said that some federal guy, at least identified himself that way, was out looking around at that.
They have not contacted us for that at all. No, sir.
That's what I thought. I said, well, I hadn't heard anything new.
Yeah, it's a little premature to be walking the land, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Unless it was Elon Musk, maybe.
I don't know who that is, and they may call tomorrow, but as of right now, haven't heard anything.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Any more citizens to be heard? Okay. Discussion issues by commissioners? Commissioner Longhorn?
Nothing more.
Ms. Fowler?
Actually, I wanted to I was going to discuss what David had said, I don't know, proposing possibly with the budget workshops coming up and what's going on with, the possibility of eliminating or decreasing our property taxes. Maybe do like a budget exercise, a 10% cut across the board, just to kind of see. Just preparation, we don't know.
Well, and that's part of what we're going to be talking about is those type of scenarios, and we don't know. The problem is we got to be able to predict the future of the legislature, which is very, very, especially now, very unpredictable. And the fact they can't make their mind up one side of the house, they can't even make their mind up when the meeting. So But you're right, I think we've already throttled back. We've already throttled back to not hiring any open positions currently, other than ones that are critical that we have to replace people, but we're not adding any, especially in departments that are non-revenue generating departments. We began that process when the legislature first started meeting and started talking, and we'll continue to throttle that back, and I think you can see with our current budget projections where we have throttled that back. That's part of what we'll do. Is we're not there yet, but I don't want to go.
But you don't know what you're dealing with. Also.
Yeah, you don't know what you're dealing with, and even if there could be legislative offsets, but like I say, it's all well they leave ad valorem alone and mess with state sales tax. That hurts everybody. That hurts us, and I want the people to go to Disney World to pay our salary. I want them. I'm personally for getting rid of property taxes. Just replace it with something. I'd like the people to come down here and visit our state to pay my property taxes for me. But
I agree.
And I think they're right in replacing property taxes, but you just got to do it smartly. And right now, it's not a lot of smart brains is coming out of that place up there.
All right. Mr. Wright?
So as late as just an hour ago, apparently the Senate and the House are closing in on budget negotiations, but there's no sales tax language cut in there.
Good.
And so they say they want sales tax, the governor is wanting property tax cut, but I don't think that anybody has identified where that's going to come from. And so right now they're still trying to figure out who's going to win that battle. Dave and I have talked about that very same thing. What if we cut our property tax and replace it with sales tax? And there's a lot of legal that we got to work through on that. So that I think that's part of what he's looking into to figure out if that's even a possibility, and what it would take to do that.
And that's part of, glad you brought that up, because that is something that I've been talking to Heather and Ralph about is transitioning to, as much as we can, to some sort of sales tax. And there's some options out there. It's complicated, but there's some options out there that won't get us all the way, but it could get some, potentially get some of our MSBU funding that could come down. We could fund EMS out of some of that. There's a couple of combinations, and then lower the millage rate based upon that. And there's a couple of opportunities there that I think we can hit, and over time it'll make a bigger and bigger difference. Now what we'd have to have is the be able to back off of ad valorem, in which everything we would do would offset that. Because we got to now begin, because what happens in legislatures, once they begin talking about something, and Commissioner Thomas will tell you, they may not get to you this year, next year, but eventually,
We'll keep coming this way.
that's right. So, but anyway, and like I say, I think it's a good idea, and as we've changed, our economies have changed, and we're more a consumptive economy, and but it's something that we got to look at. But I'd love for Wakulla County to be on the cutting edge of that.
And I agree. In my opinion, I'd rather pay more sales tax than property tax. But there's always a double side. If that's not applied across the state and we jack our sales tax up and things are cheaper in Leon County, we just send our people shopping up there. So we got to find that balance,
Plus, there's a lot of exemptions to sales tax.
That's right. Yeah. So we got to look at a lot of stuff, and it's not there's not a one size. And the problem is you eliminate, you make it to where all these departments have to pay for stuff. All of a sudden you start knocking down participation. You start, your cost of doing business goes up in the county. There's a lot of negative consequences that could happen there.
And there's negatives to not having a diversified revenue
Right.
streams as well.
Right.
Because you get into a recession, people stop traveling, and your sales tax revenues fall, but your costs don't go.
Mm-hmm. I think we've seen that with gas tax. A lot of people aren't traveling as much, and we're not getting as much on roads because of that.
Electric vehicles have really hurt that. That's right, because they can't figure out a way to tax that, and they still tear the roads up just worse than gasoline because they're heavier.
Yeah.
So.
Ms. Quincy, I do have
one more thing, changing gears. I just want to kind of get a feel for the board here. We've talked about this before, but it's been many years on this board, and I'd like for us to talk about the possibility of maybe eliminating our code enforcement board and eliminating our dangerous dog board and replace it with a special magistrate.
Let me go on ahead and give you a high five and a yes.
There we go. We got one vote. Need one more.
Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly with regard to it takes all the emotions out of the situation.
Takes the politics out, and then you've got someone who's likely a retired judge who's going to sit solely over those hearings. And you know, like a code enforcement board, a lot of times the public doesn't know this, that if they don't like the outcome of the code enforcement board, the appeal is not to the Board of County Commissioners. It doesn't come to us to overturn it. The appeal is in circuit court. So why not have a judge sitting over that committee? And, you know, chances are it might not be a judge that even lives in Wakulla County, so he's impartial or partial, is that the right word? He's impartial, yeah. And so, you know, that way we get just a, you know, scientific, legal decision instead of emotions and politics. And we don't have to do it tonight, obviously, but I would just see if we get a head nod that we've got enough, sound like we got at least 3 already, and have staff maybe bring that back as an agenda item once they put all the meat on the bones.
And also with that, that does not affect, and I guess this is a staff question or you know the answer, this does not affect what actually happens when someone comes in here for a lien.
Right.
That still stays the same, correct?
That's correct.
So that's the only thing we vote on in code enforcement, correct?
The lien reduction.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's it. So get the magistrate. We need to vote again?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you heard me.
We got 2 votes.
Okay.
Running behind that.
Yeah.
How does that work? Is it somebody we pay or somebody that's on salary or on
Yeah, you
employee or what?
You would pay them just like right now, we pay an attorney to sit on the planning and zoning board, right, and code enforcement, well, that's your staff, but
But you would pay an hourly, you'd go out, RFQ, get proposals in, make a selection for a special magistrate. Some places have more than one, in case there's a conflict and they can't hear a matter for some reason. And it's typically either a retired judge or a practicing attorney who's qualified to hear the matters, and there's an hourly engagement typically.
I guess a better example would be the value adjustment board, that we hire an attorney for that, and then we pay them by the hour, we negotiate the hourly rate.
A lot of places
On the
use it.
code side the code board actually, there's fines that are that administrative costs that are already paid, et cetera, that could pay for that magistrate on the code board side. And on the dangerous dog, how many times have we met this summer?
One time recently for the first time as far back as I can remember.
Since before I got here.
Dinosaurs walked.
Yeah.
Got it.
I can remember 3 from 2009 to now, dangerous dogs.
Yeah.
So you would eliminate both boards and just have the one?
Just have the magistrate.
One magistrate.
Yep.
Yep. And it's not something that we necessarily have to decide tonight, just, you know, because we got to see the details of it and everything, but just wanted to maybe empower staff to bring that back as an agenda item. And of course, we're going to vote for it in the public, you know, but I just think it takes a lot of that politics and emotion out of it. I think they do a good job, don't get me wrong, those are citizen volunteers, just like our planning board. They do a good job and serve a vital need in our county. I just think it's one layer that it takes the emotion and politics out of it.
And nothing would change in the voting process.
Right.
Yep. Oh, excuse me, what we vote on.
What we vote on?
Yeah.
Ms. Quincy, anything else?
I did have something, and now I don't know what it was because I got so excited about the magistrate. No, I don't think I have anything.
Did we get a head nod on that?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking to entertain.
Yeah, get staff to bring it back in front of us, yeah.
All 5 of you?
Yes.
Okay.
6 of us.
Both hands, right?
All right, I got one other thing just for the citizens to know. Obviously, us being a financially constrained county, we fall in line when they put the committee together to look at doing away with the property tax. I talked with Mr. Doolan up there, and we got some good people that are for the small counties as well on that committee. So they're, you know, they're keeping us in mind as they go through this.
And also Heather and myself, we're on the Florida Association of Counties committee doing the same thing for the state counties.
Yes, sir. All right. All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. We're adjourned. Don't beat me up, man.